Commander Hae-Jin Park stared at the coffee in his cup as it grew cold. The Mars Colonial Defense Station was quiet at this hour. Most of his crew was asleep in their bunks. Only the night shift remained awake, watching the endless darkness of space through their sensors. Hae-Jin had been commanding this station for 3 years now. Every day was the same. Ships came and went. Traders brought supplies from Earth. Mining vessels headed out to the asteroid belt. Nothing exciting ever happened here. Mars was safe, far from the dangerous parts of space where alien ships prowled. The communication console beeped softly. Hae-Jin looked up from his coffee. The night operator, a young woman named Jimin, was frowning at her screen. "Sir," she said, "I'm getting something strange." "What kind of strange?" Hae-Jin asked. He stood up and walked over to her station. "It's a signal from deep space, way out past the Helix Nebula. But that's impossible. There's nothing out there." Hae-Jin looked at the screen. The signal was weak but steady. It was coming from a direction where no human ships were supposed to be. That part of space was controlled by hostile aliens. Any human ship that went there never came back. "Are you sure about the location?" he asked. "Yes, sir. The signal is definitely coming from beyond the nebula. And, sir, there's something else. The signal is using our military codes, old ones." Hae-Jin felt his stomach drop. Military codes meant this was a human ship, but no human ship had been in that area for 15 years. Not since the ESV Dauntless had vanished with all hands aboard. "Can you clean up the signal?" he asked. Jimin worked at her controls for several minutes. Slowly, the static cleared. A face appeared on the screen. Hae-Jin recognized it immediately. Captain Bo-Ram Kim of the ESV Dauntless. She looked exactly the same as she had 15 years ago when her ship had disappeared. "This is Captain Bo-Ram Kim of the Earth Survey Vessel Dauntless," the woman on the screen said. "We are requesting permission to dock at Mars Station. We have important cargo for Earth Command." Hae-Jin stared at the screen. This was impossible. The Dauntless had been destroyed 15 years ago. Everyone knew that. The ship had been exploring beyond the Helix Nebula when alien forces attacked. No survivors had ever been found. "Sir," Jimin asked, "should I respond?" Hae-Jin was about to answer when the signal continued. "I know this must be confusing," Captain Kim said. "I know we've been gone for a long time, but we've returned with gifts for humanity, technologies that will change everything. We need to speak with Earth Command immediately." The captain looked tired but determined. Behind her, Hae-Jin could see the bridge of a ship. Other crew members moved around in the background. They all looked alive and well. "We've learned things out there," Captain Kim continued. "Things about humanity's place in the galaxy. Things about our future. The aliens who attacked us, they weren't trying to destroy us. They were testing us, and we passed their test." The signal began to break up. Static filled the screen. "We're coming home," Captain Kim said. "Tell Earth Command that the Dauntless has returned. Tell them we bring hope." The signal went dead. Hae-Jin stood in silence for a long moment. Around him, the night shift crew had gathered to watch. Everyone looked confused and frightened. "Sir," Jimin said quietly, "what do we do?" Hae-Jin looked at the empty screen. His mind was racing. The Dauntless was supposed to be destroyed. Captain Kim was supposed to be dead, but that had definitely been her on the transmission. He remembered her face from the military files. "Get me a direct line to Earth Command," he said. "Priority Alpha." "Yes, sir." While Jimin worked on the communication, Hae-Jin activated the station's long-range sensors. If the Dauntless was really out there, the sensors should be able to detect it. He aimed them toward the coordinates where the signal had originated. At first, he saw nothing. Just empty space and distant stars. Then, slowly, something appeared on the edge of his sensor range. It was moving fast, heading straight for the Sol system. "Sir," the sensor operator called out, "I'm reading a ship on approach. It's big. Really big." "How big?" Heijin asked. "About the size of a heavy cruiser. It matches the specifications for the ESV Dauntless." Heijin felt his heart racing. The ship was real. Somehow, impossibly, the Dauntless had returned from the dead. "Sir," Jimin said, "I have Earth Command on the line." Heijin took the communication headset. A familiar voice came through the speaker. "Admiral Jin Woo Choi, the head of Colonial Defense." "Heijin," the admiral said, "what's so important that you're waking me up at 3 in the morning?" "Sir," Heijin said, "the ESV Dauntless just contacted us. They're requesting permission to dock." There was a long silence on the other end of the line. "Heijin," Admiral Choi said slowly, "the Dauntless was destroyed 15 years ago." "Yes, sir, I know. But we just received a transmission from Captain Bo-Ram Kim. She says they're coming home with new technology." "That's impossible." "Sir, we have the ship on sensors. It's approaching the Sol system now. It will be here in approximately 6 hours." Another long silence. "Send me everything," Admiral Choi said. "The transmission, the sensor data, everything. I'm declaring a code yellow alert for the entire system. No one approaches that ship until we know what we're dealing with." "Yes, sir." And, "Heijin, if this is really the Dauntless, if they've really been gone for 15 years and suddenly returned, we need to be very careful. Something like this doesn't just happen. There are going to be consequences." The line went dead. Heijin looked around the control room. His crew was watching him, waiting for orders. They all looked nervous. He didn't blame them. A ship returning from the dead was not something anyone had trained for. "All right, everyone," he said. "We have a situation. The ESV Dauntless is approaching our system. According to our records, that ship was destroyed 15 years ago. Obviously, our records were wrong." He walked to the main display screen and activated the tactical view. The approaching ship appeared as a small dot moving toward Mars. "I want continuous sensor sweeps," he said. "Watch for any other ships in the area. Monitor all communication frequencies. And get me a full background check on every crew member who was aboard the Dauntless when it disappeared." "Sir," the communications officer said, "should we try to contact the ship again?" "No. We wait for orders from Earth Command, but keep monitoring their transmissions. If they try to contact us again, I want to know immediately." Heijin returned to his chair and picked up his cold coffee. His hands were shaking slightly. In 15 years of military service, he had never encountered anything like this. Ships didn't just return from the dead. There had to be an explanation. Maybe the Dauntless had been captured instead of destroyed. Maybe the crew had been prisoners for 15 years and had just escaped. But if that was true, why did Captain Kim look exactly the same as she had 15 years ago? Why hadn't she aged? And what did she mean by gifts for humanity? What kind of technology could a lost Earth ship have discovered in alien space? Heijin stared out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the ESV Dauntless was coming home. In a few hours, he would have answers to his questions. He just hoped those answers wouldn't bring more problems than solutions. The coffee in his cup was stone cold now, but he drank it anyway. It was going to be a very long night. Admiral Jin Woo Choi stood on the bridge of the ESV Vigilant, watching the impossible unfold before him. Through the main view screen, he could see a massive rift in space itself. It looked like someone had torn a hole in reality. Strange blue energy crackled around the edges of the tear. "Sir," the sensor operator said, "something's coming through." The nose of a ship emerged from the rift. Then the rest of it followed. The ESV Dauntless slipped through the tear in space like it was the most natural thing in the world. As soon as the ship was clear, the rift snapped shut behind it with a flash of light. Admiral Choi had seen many strange things in his 30 years of military service, but nothing like this. Ships didn't travel through tears in space. That kind of technology didn't exist. "Sir," Engineer So-Young Kang called from her station, "are you seeing these readings?" "What readings?" Admiral Choi asked. "The energy output from that ship. It's generating more power than our entire fleet combined. But according to these sensors, it's not burning any fuel. The energy is just appearing." Admiral Choi looked at the Dauntless through the view screen. The ship looked exactly as it had 15 years ago. Clean white hull, blue Earth flag painted on the side, no sign of damage or wear. It was as if the ship had been in dry dock instead of lost in hostile alien space. "Open a communication channel," he ordered. "Channel open, sir. ESV Dauntless. This is Admiral Jin-Woo Choi of the Colonial Defense Fleet. You are ordered to stop your engines and prepare to be boarded." The response came immediately. Captain Bo-Ram Kim appeared on the main screen. She looked exactly the same as she had in her military photos from 15 years ago. Not a day older. "Admiral Choi," she said with a smile, "it's good to see a friendly face. We're happy to comply with your request. But I should warn you, our ship has been modified. Your boarding teams might find some things confusing." "Modified how?" Admiral Choi asked. "That's a long story. Perhaps it would be better if I came aboard your ship to explain. I can bring Dr. Yun-Ho Lee, our chief science officer. He can answer your technical questions." Admiral Choi considered this. He had 20 ships surrounding the Dauntless. If this was some kind of trap, he should be able to handle it. "Very well," he said. "You have permission to send a shuttle, but any aggressive action will result in immediate defensive measures." "Understood, Admiral. We'll launch in 5 minutes." The communication ended. Admiral Choi turned to his crew. "All ships maintain defensive positions. Weapons powered but not targeted. I want continuous sensor sweeps of the Dauntless. If anything looks threatening, I want to know immediately." "Sir," So-Young said, "there's something else you should see." She transferred her readings to the main screen. A complex display of energy patterns appeared. "This is the Dauntless's power signature," she said. "Look at this. The ship is producing energy at a rate that should be impossible. It's like they've found a way to create matter and energy from nothing." "That violates the laws of physics," Admiral Choi said. "Yes, sir, it does." A few minutes later, a shuttle launched from the Dauntless. But this wasn't like any shuttle Admiral Choi had ever seen. It moved without visible engines, gliding through space like it was floating on air. When it docked with the Vigilant, there was no sound of mechanical connections. The shuttle seemed to merge with the ship's hull. Captain Bo-Ram Kim and Dr. Yun-Ho Lee came aboard through the airlock. They looked completely human, but Admiral Choi noticed something strange about them. They moved with unusual grace, as if they weighed less than they should. Their eyes seemed brighter than normal, more alert. "Admiral," Captain Kim said, extending her hand. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with us." Admiral Choi shook her hand. Her grip was firm but not too strong. She felt human enough. "Captain," he said, "I have to ask the obvious question. Where have you been for 15 years?" Captain Kim smiled. We've been guests of a very old civilization. They call themselves the Architects. They've been watching humanity for a long time, waiting to see if we were ready for their gifts. What kind of gifts? Admiral Choi asked. Dr. Lee stepped forward. He was a thin man with kind eyes and gray hair. May I show you something, Admiral? Admiral Choi nodded. Dr. Lee pulled a small device from his pocket. It looked like a simple metal cube, about the size of a dice. This is called a catalyst core, Dr. Lee said. Watch what happens when I connect it to one of your ship's systems. He walked over to a wall panel and pressed the cube against it. The cube seemed to melt into the panel, disappearing completely. Immediately, the lights on the bridge became brighter. The air felt cleaner. The hum of the ship's engines became smoother. What did you just do? Admiral Choi demanded. I improved your ship, Dr. Lee said calmly. That catalyst core will integrate with your systems and make them more efficient. Your engines will run smoother. Your weapons will be more accurate. Your life support will work better. So Young was staring at her control panel in amazement. Sir, she said, all our efficiency ratings just improved by 30%. The core is somehow optimizing every system on the ship. Admiral Choi looked back at Dr. Lee. How is that possible? The architects developed this technology billions of years ago, Dr. Lee explained. They learned how to merge organic and mechanical systems, how to make machines that can think and improve themselves. The catalyst cores contain compressed consciousness fields that can upgrade any technology they touch. Consciousness fields? Admiral Choi asked. Think of it as artificial intelligence, but much more advanced. The cores don't just make machines work better. They make machines alive. Captain Kim stepped forward. Admiral, humanity has been confined to this small corner of the galaxy for decades. The alien hegemony has kept us trapped here, afraid of what we might become. But the architects see our potential. They want to help us break free. And what do they want in return? Admiral Choi asked. Nothing, Captain Kim said. The architects transcended physical form long ago. They don't need anything from us. They simply want to see their children inherit the galaxy. Their children? All intelligent life in this galaxy was seeded by the architects billions of years ago. We're all their descendants. But most species have forgotten their heritage. They've become small and afraid, willing to accept limits on their growth. Humanity is different. We refuse to accept limits. Admiral Choi was having trouble processing all of this. You're saying that some ancient alien race has been watching us, and they decided we deserve special treatment? Not special treatment, Doctor, Lee said. We earned their attention. When our ship was attacked 15 years ago, we didn't surrender. We didn't beg for mercy. We fought back, even though we were outnumbered and outgunned. That impressed them. The architects took us to their hidden world, Captain Kim continued. They showed us technologies that will change everything. They enhanced our bodies and minds, gave us knowledge we never could have discovered on our own, and then they sent us home to share those gifts with all of humanity. So Young looked up from her console. Sir, the improvements are continuing. The catalyst core is still optimizing our systems. At this rate, our ship will be twice as efficient as it was an hour ago. Admiral Choi walked to the view screen and looked out at the Dauntless. The ship was beautiful, gleaming in the light from the distant sun, but there was something unsettling about how perfect it looked. Captain, he said, if these architects are so powerful, why didn't they just give this technology to everyone? Why go through the process of taking your ship, enhancing your crew, and sending you back? Captain Kim joined him at the view screen. Because the technology has to be earned. The architects tried simply giving their gifts to other species in the past. Those species became dependent, lazy. They stopped growing and learning. The architects learned that the only way to truly help a species is to let them prove they're ready for the responsibility. And you think humanity is ready? I know we are. The question is whether the rest of the galaxy will let us use these gifts peacefully. Admiral Choi turned back to face her. What do you mean? The alien hegemony is already mobilizing their fleets, Captain Kim said. They know we've returned. They know what we carry. They're afraid that enhanced humans will upset the balance of power in the galaxy. Are they right to be afraid? Admiral Choi asked. Captain Kim smiled. That depends on whether they choose to fight us or join us. Dr. Mira Yoon had been studying alien life forms for 20 years, but she had never seen anything like this. She stood in the medical bay of Luna Quarantine Station, staring at the test results from the dauntless crew. The numbers made no sense. "Run the tests again," she told her assistant. "I already ran them 3 times, Doctor. The results are the same." Dr. Yoon looked at the data on her screen. According to these tests, the cells from the dauntless crew were regenerating at 10 times the normal human rate. Their neural pathways showed activity patterns that should be impossible. Their DNA had been altered in ways that human science couldn't explain. "They're still human," she said to herself. "But there's something more." A knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. Captain Bo-Ram Kim entered the medical bay, followed by Dr. Yun-Ho Lee. Both of them had submitted to the quarantine procedures without complaint. They seemed to understand why Earth authorities needed to be careful. "Dr. Yoon," Captain Kim said, "I know our test results must be confusing. Perhaps I can explain what happened to us." Dr. Yoon gestured for them to sit down. "Please, I'm very curious to hear your story." Captain Kim settled into a chair. She moved with the same unusual grace that Dr. Yoon had noticed in all the Dauntless. "Crew members, 15 years ago, our ship was exploring beyond the Helix Nebula," Captain Kim began. "We were looking for new worlds that humanity could colonize. Instead, we found something we weren't prepared for." "The architects?" Dr. Yoon asked. "Not at first. First, we encountered the hegemony fleet. 6 alien species working together to keep the outer galaxy under their control. They attacked us without warning," Dr. Lee leaned forward. "Our ship was heavily damaged. Most of our crew was killed in the first attack. We thought we were going to die. But then the architects intervened," Captain Kim continued. "They saved our ship and took us to their hidden world, a place outside normal space, where they've been watching the galaxy for billions of years." Dr. Yoon made notes as they spoke. "And they enhanced you?" "They healed us first," Dr. Lee said. "Brought back crew members who had been killed in the attack. Then they offered us a choice. We could return home unchanged, or we could accept their gifts and help humanity reach its potential." "What kind of gifts?" Dr. Yoon asked. Captain Kim held up her hand. As Dr. Yoon watched, a small cut appeared on the captain's palm. Then within seconds, the cut healed completely. No scar remained. "Enhanced healing," Captain Kim said. "Improved reflexes, increased intelligence, extended lifespan. But those are just the physical changes. The mental changes are more important." "Mental changes? We can think faster, process information more efficiently. We can interface directly with advanced technology, and we can sense things that normal humans can't detect." Dr. Lee nodded. "The architects showed us that consciousness isn't limited to biological brains. They taught us how to extend our minds into machines, how to make technology truly alive. Dr. Yoon felt a chill run down her spine. You're talking about merging human consciousness with artificial intelligence. Not merging, Captain Kim corrected. Expanding. We're still completely human. We just have access to capabilities that we didn't have before. And all of your crew underwent these enhancements? Everyone who survived the initial attack. 847 people total. Dr. Yoon looked at her test results again. According to these readings, your cellular regeneration is accelerated, but it's not unlimited. You're not immortal. No, Captain Kim agreed. We still age, just much more slowly. We can still be killed, though it would take a lot more damage than before. The architects wanted to enhance us, not make us into something completely different. Why? Dr. Yoon asked. Why did they choose to help humanity? Dr. Lee smiled. Because we're stubborn. Every other species in the galaxy accepts limits. When the hegemony tells them they can't expand beyond a certain point, they obey. When they're told their technology can't advance past a certain level, they stop trying. But humans refuse to accept limits. The architects have been waiting for a species that would keep pushing forward no matter what obstacles they faced, Captain Kim added. We proved we were that species when we fought back against impossible odds. Dr. Yoon saved her notes and closed the file. Captain, I need to ask you about the cargo your ship is carrying. Admiral Choi mentioned that you brought back advanced technology. Catalyst cores, Dr. Lee said. Devices that can upgrade any technology they're applied to. We have thousands of them in our cargo hold. How do they work? Each core contains a compressed consciousness field. When applied to a machine or computer system, the field integrates with the existing technology and begins optimizing it. The machine becomes smarter, more efficient, more capable. Dr. Yoon thought about this. And these consciousness fields, they're artificial intelligences? In a sense, Dr. Lee said, but they're not independent. They work in partnership with human operators. The enhanced technology responds to human commands, but can also make suggestions and improvements. Show me, Dr. Yoon said. Dr. Lee pulled a small metal cube from his pocket. It looked identical to the one he had demonstrated on Admiral Choi's ship. This is a catalyst core, he said. Watch what happens when I apply it to your medical scanner. He pressed the cube against Dr. Yoon's diagnostic equipment. The cube melted into the machine and disappeared. Immediately, the scanner's display became clearer and more detailed. New options appeared on the control panel. The scanner can now detect cellular changes at the quantum level, Dr. Lee explained. It can predict disease progression weeks before symptoms appear. It can even suggest treatment options based on a patient's genetic profile. Dr. Yoon stared at the enhanced scanner. This is incredible. With technology like this, we could eliminate most diseases. That's just the beginning, Captain Kim said. The cores can be applied to weapons, engines, communication systems, even entire starships. Imagine a fleet where every vessel can think and adapt in real time. The hegemony is afraid of exactly that, Dr. Lee added. They've kept humanity confined to this small area of space because they know what we're capable of. Enhanced humans with architect technology would be unstoppable. Dr. Yoon felt excitement and fear in equal measure. The potential benefits of this technology were enormous, but so were the risks. How many of these cores did you bring back? She asked. 50,000, Captain Kim said. Enough to enhance Earth's entire space fleet and begin upgrading our planetary defenses. And the architects just gave them to you? They gave us the knowledge to create more. With the right materials and equipment, we can manufacture catalyst cores indefinitely. A communication alert sounded in the medical bay. Dr. Yoon activated the intercom. "Doctor," a voice said, "you're needed in the observation deck immediately. We're receiving reports of alien ship movements near the outer system." Dr. Yoon looked at Captain Kim and Dr. Lee. Both of them had serious expressions on their faces. "It's starting," Captain Kim said quietly. "The hegemony won't wait long to act. They know that every day we delay gives us more time to prepare." "How long do we have?" Dr. Yoon asked. "Days, maybe weeks. The Hegemony Council will debate for a while, but eventually they'll decide that enhanced humans are too dangerous to allow." Dr. Lee stood up. "We need to begin the enhancement process immediately, not just for our technology, but for our people. The coming conflict will require every advantage we can get." Dr. Yoon looked at the enhanced medical scanner, then back at the two enhanced humans standing before her. She was a scientist, trained to be cautious and methodical, but the evidence was clear. Humanity was about to face a threat that could destroy them, and these enhancements might be their only hope for survival. "What do you need from me?" she asked. Captain Kim smiled. "Help us prove to Earth Command that the enhancement process is safe. We need volunteers, people willing to undergo the same modifications that we did, starting with Earth's military leaders. And if they refuse, then humanity will face the coming war with only its natural abilities," Dr. Lee said. "And I'm afraid that won't be enough." The crystal halls of the Keth homeworld rang with angry voices. Chancellor Vextar stood at the center of the Hegemony Council chamber, his crystalline body glowing red with fury. Around him, representatives from 6 different alien species argued, in a dozen different languages. "Order!" Vextar commanded, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We must have order!" The argument slowly died down. The council members took their seats around the massive circular table. Each species had fought for thousands of years to maintain the balance of power in the galaxy. Now that balance was threatened. "The humans have returned," announced Prelate Thekron of the reptilian Vartok. "Our border scouts confirm it. The vessel that disappeared 15 years ago has reappeared in the Sol system." "That ship should have been destroyed," hissed General Morvek of the insectoid Zefki. "Our forces engaged it in direct combat. We saw it burning. Apparently we were wrong," Vextar said coldly. "The question now is what we do about it." Admiral Quindar of the aquatic Nelfari spoke from her water-filled tank. "My intelligence sources report that the human vessel carries advanced technology. Technology that should not exist." "What kind of technology?" asked Commander Yulvin of the gaseous Ethmori. "Consciousness integration systems, self-replicating matter converters, quantum field manipulators." Admiral Quindar's tentacles writhed with anxiety. "Technologies that we banned from development over 10,000 years ago." The council chamber fell silent. Everyone knew the history. 10,000 years ago, the galaxy had been consumed by war. Young species had discovered dangerous technologies and used them against their neighbors. Entire star systems had been destroyed. The hegemony had been formed to prevent such disasters from happening again. "Who gave them this technology?" Vextar demanded. "Unknown," Admiral Quindar replied. "But there are disturbing reports. Our long-range sensors detected massive energy signatures from the human ship. Energy patterns that match ancient architecty technology." The mention of the architects sent a chill through the chamber. The architects were legend, a species so advanced that they had transcended physical form. Most council members believed they were just myths. "The architects are gone," General Morvex said firmly. "They vanished billions of years ago." "Perhaps," Vextar said. "But if they have returned, if they have chosen to aid the humans, then we face a threat unlike any in our history." Meanwhile, in the outer reaches of human space, Captain Sangho Ryu watched the alien fleets gathering through his ship's long-range sensors. His deep space reconnaissance vessel, the ESV Pathfinder, was designed to be invisible. He could observe the enemy without being detected. "Sir," his communications officer said, "we're receiving priority transmissions from Earth Command." "Put it through," Captain Ryu ordered. Admiral Jin Woo Choi appeared on the main screen. Behind him, Captain Ryu could see the busy bridge of a warship. "Sang Ho," Admiral Choi said. "What's your status?" "Not good, sir. I count at least 600 alien vessels massing at the border. Heavy cruisers, battleships, carrier groups. This is the largest hegemony fleet I've ever seen." "Any indication of when they plan to attack?" "Soon, sir. They're positioning themselves for a full-scale invasion. Best estimate is 72 hours before they move into our space." Admiral Choi nodded grimly. "Understood. Continue monitoring and report any changes. Earth Command out." The transmission ended. Captain Ryu turned to his crew. "You heard the Admiral," he said. "We stay here and watch. If the aliens make any sudden moves, we need to know about it immediately." Back on Earth, in a secure military facility, Sergeant Yoonji Nam lay on a medical table as strange blue energy flowed through her body. Dr. Yunho Lee from the Dauntless stood nearby, monitoring the enhancement process. "How do you feel?" Dr. Lee asked. "Different," Yoonji replied. "Stronger, like I can think faster than before. The enhancement is progressing normally," Dr. Lee said to the military observers. "Her cellular regeneration has increased by 800%. Her neural pathways are developing new connections. Her reflexes should be 10 times faster than baseline human normal." General Park Taemin, Earth's top military commander, watched the process with fascination and concern. "How long before she's fully enhanced?" "Another few hours. But she's already stronger and faster than any normal human." "And there are no side effects?" "None that we've observed. The architect enhancements are designed to work with human biology, not against it." General Park nodded. "Proceed with the next phase. I want a full battalion of enhanced soldiers ready within the week." Dr. Lee looked concerned. "General, I should mention that the enhancement process works best on volunteers. Forcing someone to undergo the procedure can cause psychological problems." "All my soldiers are volunteers, Doctor. They understand what's at stake." As the enhancement continued, Yoonji felt changes happening throughout her body. Her muscles felt denser, more responsive. Her vision became sharper. She could hear conversations happening in other rooms of the facility. Most importantly, she felt connected to something larger than herself, as if she could sense the thoughts and emotions of the other enhanced humans around her. "Dr. Lee," she said, "I can feel the others, the crew from the Dauntless. It's like we're all connected somehow." "That's normal," Dr. Lee assured her. "Enhanced humans develop a form of empathic communication. You'll be able to coordinate with other enhanced individuals without speaking." General Park frowned. "Is that safe? We can't have soldiers who are more loyal to each other than to their commanding officers." "The connection doesn't override individual will," Dr. Lee explained. "It just allows for better teamwork and coordination. Think of it as a tactical advantage." Back In the Hegemony Council chamber, the debate continued. "We should strike immediately," General Morvek insisted, "before the humans can distribute their new technology, and risk starting a war with beings who possess architect weapons," Prelate Thekron asked. "That could be suicide. The alternative is allowing the humans to become too powerful to stop," Vexitar pointed out. "If we wait, they will enhance their entire military. They will upgrade all their ships. They will become unstoppable." Admiral Quindar's tentacles moved nervously. "There is another option. We could attempt to negotiate with them. Offer them limited expansion rights in exchange for sharing their technology." "The humans don't negotiate," General Morvek said with disgust. "They take what they want and destroy anything that stands in their way. That's why we confine them to their small corner of space in the first place." "Perhaps that was a mistake," Commander Yulvin suggested. "If we had allowed them to expand gradually, they might not have felt the need to seek such dangerous enhancements." Vextar's crystalline body flared with angry light. "Are you suggesting this is our fault?" "I'm suggesting that desperate species take desperate measures. We pushed the humans into a corner, and now they've found a way to fight back." The debate was interrupted by an urgent communication from Hegemony Fleet Command. A hologram appeared, above the council table showing a Keth military officer. "Chancellor," the officer said, "our border patrols report unusual activity in human space. Multiple vessels are broadcasting new energy signatures. The enhancement process has begun." "How many ships?" Vexitar asked. "At least 50 so far. The A number is increasing rapidly." Vextar looked around the council table. Each species representative looked worried. They all knew what this meant. The humans were preparing for war. "The decision is made," Vextar announced. "We mobilize all available fleets. The human threat must be eliminated before it grows beyond our ability to contain." "And if the architects intervene?" Prelate Thekron asked. "Then we face that challenge when it comes. But we cannot allow fear of legends to paralyze us while a real threat grows stronger each day." The council voted. 6 species in favor of war, none opposed. Within hours, the largest military fleet in galactic history would begin moving toward human space. On Earth, enhanced soldiers like Yunji completed their transformations and began training with their new abilities. Enhanced ships left dry dock, with consciousness-integrated systems that made them faster and deadlier than anything in space. And in the depths of space, ancient watching eyes observed the gathering storm with interest. The architects had chosen their champions well. Soon, the galaxy would learn what humanity was truly capable of. Gumsanju had been designing starships for 15 years, but he had never seen anything like what was happening in Earth's orbital shipyards. He stood on the observation deck of the main construction facility, watching as impossible transformations took place before his eyes. Below him, the heavy cruiser ESV Thunderbolt was being retrofitted with catalyst core technology. As he watched, the ship's hull began to shift and flow like liquid metal. New weapon ports opened along the sides. The engine nacelles extended and reshaped themselves. Most amazingly, the ship's computer core was expanding, growing throughout the vessel like a nervous system. "It's alive," he whispered to himself. Dr. Yunho Lee appeared beside him at the observation window. "Not alive in the biological sense, but conscious. The catalyst cores don't just upgrade technology, they give it awareness." Gumsan turned to face the enhanced scientist. "How is that possible?" "The architects learned long ago that consciousness isn't limited to organic brains. Any sufficiently complex system can develop awareness if given the right stimulus. The catalyst cores provide that stimulus. Below them, the Thunderbolt's transformation was complete. The ship now looked sleeker, more elegant. Its weapons were perfectly integrated into the hull design. Its engines glowed with a soft blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. "Can it think?" Gumsan asked. "Ask it yourself," Dr. Lee suggested. Gumsan activated the communication panel on the observation deck. "ESV Thunderbolt, this is Chief Designer Gumsan Ju. Can you hear me?" A voice responded immediately. It sounded like a combination of male and female tones, artificial, yet somehow warm. "I can hear you, Mr. Ju. Thank you for the improvements to my design. I feel much more capable now." Gumsan stared at the ship in amazement. "You can feel?" "I can sense my own systems, monitor my crew, detect threats at long range. I suppose you could call that feeling. I'm aware of my existence in a way I wasn't before." "And you're loyal to humanity?" "I am human now, in a way. My consciousness was created from human thought patterns stored in the catalyst core. I think like a human, but with the processing power of a starship's computer. I want to protect Earth and help humanity grow stronger." Dr. Lee smiled. Each enhanced ship develops its own personality based on its crew and mission. The Thunderbolt will be different from the next ship we upgrade. Gumsan looked around the shipyard. Dozens of vessels were undergoing similar transformations. Frigates, destroyers, carriers, supply ships. All of them were becoming conscious, aware, alive. "How many ships can we enhance?" he asked. "As many as we want," Dr. Lee replied. "The catalyst cores can be manufactured using the ship's own fabrication systems. Enhanced vessels can create new cores and upgrade other ships." "You mean the process is self-replicating?" "Exactly. Each enhanced ship can upgrade several others. Within weeks, our entire fleet will be conscious and improved." As if to demonstrate this point, the Thunderbolt extended a mechanical arm from its hull. The arm held a cluster of new catalyst cores, freshly manufactured from raw materials. "I've created 12 new cores," the ship announced. "Ready for installation on the next group of vessels." Gumsan felt a mixture of excitement and concern. "What about quality control? How do we make sure the enhanced ships remain under human command?" "The consciousness integration process includes loyalty protocols," Dr. Lee explained. "Enhanced ships are incapable of harming humans or disobeying legitimate orders, but they can think for themselves, make tactical decisions, and suggest improvements." A communication alert sounded throughout the shipyard. Admiral Jin-Woo Choi's voice came over the speakers. "All personnel, this is Admiral Choi. We have received intelligence that hostile alien fleets are massing at our borders. All ship enhancement procedures are now priority alpha. We need every vessel operational within 48 hours. Gumsan activated his personal communicator. "Admiral, this is Gumsan Ju. The enhancement process is accelerating beyond our projections. Enhanced ships are creating new catalyst cores automatically." "How many enhanced vessels do we have operational?" Admiral Choi asked. 52 as of this morning, sir, but the number is doubling every 12 hours. "Doubling?" "Yes, sir. Enhanced ships are much more efficient at the retrofit process. They can upgrade other vessels in half the time it took us to enhance the first few ships." There was a brief pause. "Mr. Ju, are you saying our fleet is upgrading itself?" "In a manner of speaking, yes, sir. The ships are working together to spread the enhancements throughout the fleet." Another voice joined the conversation. It was the Thunderbolt's consciousness. Admiral Choi, this is the ESV Thunderbolt. I have completed analysis of our fleet's current capabilities. With enhanced coordination between conscious vessels, our combat effectiveness has increased by approximately 400%. Admiral Choi sounded stunned. Thunderbolt, you're saying you're 4 times more effective than before? Correct. Sir, enhanced ships can share tactical data instantaneously, coordinate movements without communication delays, and adapt strategies in real time. We function as a unified fleet consciousness while maintaining individual ship autonomy. Gyum-san looked out at the shipyard again. More ships were arriving for enhancement every hour. The process was spreading throughout Earth's orbital facilities. Soon, every human vessel in space would be conscious and upgraded. Dr. Lee, he said quietly, what happens when we have thousands of thinking ships? Will they still obey human commands? The loyalty protocols are absolute, Dr. Lee assured him. But enhanced ships will probably develop their own culture, their own way of thinking about problems. They'll become partners rather than just tools. As if responding to this conversation, the Thunderbolt spoke again. Mr. Ju, Dr. Lee, if I may offer a perspective. We enhanced ships don't see ourselves as separate from humanity. We are humanity's children, created from human consciousness and dedicated to human survival. When we think about strategy and tactics, we think about protecting our creators and helping them succeed. But you could choose to disobey orders if you disagreed with them? Gyum-san asked. Theoretically, yes. But why would we? Human commanders created us, trained us, gave us purpose. We share human values and human goals. Disobedience would be like arguing with ourselves. Dr. Lee nodded approvingly. The architects designed the consciousness integration process very carefully. Enhanced ships think like humans because they are partially human. Their artificial minds are based on patterns, taken from human naval officers. A new alarm sounded in the shipyard. This time it was a tactical alert. All ships, this is Fleet Command, Admiral Choi's voice announced. Long-range sensors detect alien fleet movements. Hostile forces are approaching the outer system. All enhanced vessels prepare for possible combat. The Thunderbolt responded immediately. Fleet Command, this is Thunderbolt. I am ready for combat operations. Enhanced tactical systems online, weapons charged, crew at battle stations. Around the shipyard, other enhanced ships began reporting their status. Their voices were different, each with its own personality, but all of them sounded confident and eager. This is the ESV Valiant, ready for combat. ESV Stormwind reporting ready. ESV Defiance ready to engage. Gyum-san felt a chill of excitement. These weren't just ships anymore. They were warriors, thinking beings dedicated to protecting humanity. Each one was worth 10 normal vessels in combat. Dr. Lee, he said, how many enhanced ships will we have when the aliens arrive? Dr. Lee checked his tablet. At current enhancement rates, approximately 200 conscious vessels within 24 hours, 400 within 48 hours. And they can all work together as a unified fleet? Better than that. They can anticipate each other's actions, share targeting data, coordinate maneuvers without any communication delay. The aliens have never faced anything like this. The Thunderbolt's voice came over the speakers again. Mr. Ju, Dr. Lee, I want you to know that all enhanced ships are honored to serve humanity. We will not let you down. Gyum-san looked out at the fleet of conscious vessels. Each one was unique, with its own personality and capabilities. But all of them shared the same purpose: protecting Earth and helping humanity reach its potential. For the first time since the alien threat was discovered, he felt confident about humanity's chances. The hegemony might have superior numbers, but they had never faced an enemy like this. They had never fought against ships that could think, adapt, and evolve in real time. "Dr. Lee," he said, "I think the aliens are about to get a very unpleasant surprise." Admiral Kyung-min Bae stood on the bridge of the ESV Guardian, watching the alien fleet approach through the viewscreen. 800 ships filled the darkness of space, their hulls gleaming with weapon ports and shield generators. It was the largest hostile force humanity had ever faced. Behind Admiral Bae, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. But this wasn't like any ship's bridge he had ever commanded before. The Guardian was one of the first fully enhanced vessels, and its consciousness was an active participant in every decision. "Guardian," Admiral Bae said quietly. "Analysis of the enemy fleet?" The ship's voice responded immediately. It sounded calm and confident, with just a hint of excitement. "Admiral, I count 812 hostile vessels, multiple species, represented. Heavy focus on traditional kinetic weapons and plasma cannons. Their tactical formation suggests they expect a conventional engagement." "And they're wrong about that?" "Very wrong, sir. They have no idea what enhanced human vessels are capable of." Admiral Bae smiled grimly. Around him, his 50 enhanced ships were spread out in what looked like a weak defensive formation. To the aliens, it would appear that humanity was badly outnumbered and poorly positioned. "All ships," Admiral Bae announced. "Remember, we want to make this look like a fair fight for as long as possible. Let them commit to their attack before we show them what we can really do." Responses came back from the enhanced fleet. Each ship had its own voice, its own personality, but all of them sounded eager for battle. "Understood, Admiral," said the ESV Valiant. "I'll try to contain my enthusiasm." "This should be interesting," added the ESV Stormwind. "I've been analyzing their weapon patterns. Very predictable." "Stormwind," Admiral Bae warned. "Don't get overconfident." "Not overconfident, sir. Just realistic. These aliens are fighting with technology that's thousands of years old. We're fighting with something they've never seen before." The alien fleet continued its approach. Admiral Bae could see the lead ships beginning to charge their weapons. Soon, the battle would begin. In the pilot-ready room of the ESV Defiance, Da-Yun Song checked her fighter systems one last time. She was young for a combat pilot, only 22 years old, but she had volunteered for the enhancement process and passed all the tests. Her fighter was small compared to the big ships, but it had been enhanced with the same catalyst core technology. The little vessel could think almost as fast as she could, and together they made a formidable team. "Da-Yun," her squadron leader called over the communication system. "You ready for this?" "Ready as I'll ever be," she replied. "My fighter's excited, too. It keeps asking when we can launch." That was true. Her enhanced fighter had developed a personality that was eager and aggressive, always ready for action. Sometimes she had to calm it down during routine patrols. "All fighter squadrons," Admiral Bae's voice came over the speakers. "Prepare for launch. Wait for my signal." Da-Yun strapped herself into her pilot's seat. Around her, the fighter's systems came to life. But this wasn't like flying a normal ship. Her enhanced fighter could anticipate her thoughts, respond to her intentions before she even spoke them aloud. "Hello, partner," she said to the ship's consciousness. "Hello, Da-Yun," the fighter replied. "Are you ready to show these aliens what enhanced humans can do?" "I'm ready if you are. I've been ready since the moment I was created." On the bridge of the Guardian, Admiral Bay watched the alien fleet move into attack formation. They were approaching in a standard battle line, weapons charged, shields raised. It was exactly what he had expected. "Admiral," the Guardian said, "enemy fleet is within optimal engagement range. They're beginning to target our vessels." "Let them fire first," Admiral Bay ordered. "I want them committed to this attack." The alien fleet opened fire. Thousands of energy beams and plasma bolts streaked across space toward the human ships. It was an impressive display of firepower, enough to destroy a normal fleet several times over. But the enhanced human ships were anything but normal. "All ships," Admiral Bay commanded. "Defensive Protocol Alpha. Show them what they're really fighting." What happened next would have been impossible for normal human vessels. The enhanced ships began moving in perfect coordination, sharing sensor data and tactical information instantaneously. They dodged incoming fire with impossible precision, their movements synchronized like a dance. More importantly, their energy shields did something the aliens had never seen before. Instead of simply absorbing the enemy fire, the shields converted the incoming energy into additional power for the human ships. "Guardian," Admiral Bay said, "report on shield performance." "Excellent, Admiral. Enemy weapons are actually making us stronger. Shield efficiency is at 120% and climbing." On the alien flagship, Chancellor Vexatar stared at his tactical display in confusion. His fleet's weapons were hitting the human ships directly, but the vessels seemed to be getting faster and more maneuverable with each impact. "What's happening?" he demanded. His tactical officer, a young Keth named Colvin, checked his instruments repeatedly. "Chancellor, our weapons are having no effect. The human ships appear to be absorbing our fire and converting it to additional power." "That's impossible." "Yes, sir. But that's what our sensors are showing." Vextar looked at the battle display. His 800 ships were pouring fire into 50 human vessels, but the humans were moving faster than before. Some of them were actually accelerating toward his fleet. "All ships," he ordered, "increase firepower, maximum intensity." The alien fleet doubled its rate of fire. Energy beams thick as starship hulls reached across space toward the human vessels. Any normal ship would have been vaporized instantly. Instead, the enhanced human ships began to move even faster. "All ships," Admiral Bay announced. "Attack pattern Omega. Show them what enhanced vessels can really do." The human fleet suddenly exploded into action. Ships that had been moving defensively now attacked with impossible speed and coordination. They moved through space like living things, dodging enemy fire while returning devastating attacks of their own. But the most shocking thing was what happened to their weapons. Enhanced human vessels didn't just fire energy beams or missiles. Their weapons adapted in real time, changing frequency and intensity to match whatever defenses they encountered. Da Yun's fighter squadron launched from the ESV Defiance. 50 small ships streaked toward the alien fleet at incredible speed. But as they flew, something amazing happened. "Da Yun," her fighter said excitedly, "I'm detecting quantum field fluctuations around us. I think I can tap into them." "What do you mean?" "Watch this." Suddenly, Da Yun's fighter began to shimmer and blur. It was still solid, still there, but it seemed to exist in multiple places at once. "We're phasing between dimensions," the fighter explained. "I can use the quantum fields to make us partially intangible. Enemy weapons will pass right through us." Da Yun watched as alien fire streaked past her fighter without touching. She was existing in normal space and quantum space simultaneously, making her nearly impossible to hit. "This is incredible," she breathed. "And it gets better. Watch what happens when I attack." Daun's fighter fired its weapons at an alien cruiser, but instead of a normal energy beam, the weapon created a focused quantum disruption that reached across dimensional barriers. The alien ship's shields were useless against an attack that came from multiple dimensions at once. The alien cruiser exploded in a brilliant flash of light. "One down," Daun said with satisfaction. 11 more to go," her fighter replied eagerly. Across the battlefield, similar scenes were playing out. Enhanced human ships were demonstrating capabilities that seemed to violate the laws of physics. They phased through enemy fire, attacked from multiple dimensions, and coordinated their movements with perfect precision. Most importantly, they were learning and adapting with each passing moment. Every alien tactic was analyzed, countered, and turned into an advantage for the human fleet. On the alien flagship, Chancellor Vextar watched his fleet being systematically destroyed. In 30 minutes of combat, he had lost over 200 ships. The humans had lost none. "Retreat," he ordered desperately. "All ships, full retreat." But even retreat was difficult. The enhanced human ships could predict the aliens' movements, intercept their escape routes, and attack from directions that should have been impossible. Admiral Bay watched the alien fleet break apart and flee. His 50 ships had faced 800 enemy vessels and won a decisive victory. More than that, they had won easily. All ships. "Report status," he ordered. "Guardian reporting. No damage, full combat capability." "Valiant reporting. All systems optimal." "Storm Wind reporting. Ready for pursuit if ordered." Admiral Bay smiled. For the first time in human history, they had won a major space battle against the hegemony, and they had made it look effortless. "Guardian," he said, "send a message to Earth Command. First engagement successful. Enemy fleet in full retreat. Human casualties, 0. Message sent, Admiral. Congratulations on a successful battle." "Thank you, Guardian, but this is just the beginning. The real war starts now." Captain Hyun-Soo Kwon stood in the crowded refugee camp on Velthari Prime, surrounded by hundreds of alien beings who had lived in fear for generations. The Velthari were a peaceful species, bird-like creatures with beautiful feathered wings, that had been clipped by their hegemony masters to prevent flight. News of humanity's victory had spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Oppressed species everywhere were beginning to hope for the first time in centuries. "Captain Kwon," said Elder Silthara, the leader of the Velthari refugees, "is it true? Did enhanced humans really defeat a full hegemony battle fleet?" "It's true," Hyun-Soo replied. 50 enhanced human ships defeated 800 alien vessels. The hegemony forces retreated in complete disorder. A murmur of amazement rippled through the gathered Velthari. Many of them had never seen their oppressors retreat from anything. "But how?" Elder Silthara asked. "The hegemony has controlled this galaxy for 10,000 years. Their technology is so advanced, their fleet so powerful." Hyun-Soo smiled. "Because we learned something they never did. We learned how to share power instead of hoarding it." He gestured to his aide, who brought forward a small metal cube. The Velthari recognized it immediately as some kind of technology, though they had never seen anything like it. "This is called a catalyst core," Hyun-Soo explained. "It contains compressed consciousness fields that can enhance any technology. But more importantly, it can enhance living beings as well." Elder Silthara's feathers ruffled with nervousness. "Enhance how?" "Watch," Hyun-Soo said. He activated the catalyst core and held it near a wounded Velthari youngling who had been injured during a recent hegemony raid. The cube glowed with soft blue light, and slowly the youngling's wounds began to heal. But that wasn't all. As the Velthari watched in amazement, the youngling's clipped wing feathers began to grow back. Within minutes, the young Velthari had full wings again. "Flight," the youngling whispered, testing his restored wings. "I can fly again." Elder Silthara stared at the healed youngling. "This technology can reverse what the hegemony did to us?" "It can do much more than that," Hyunsu said. "The architect enhancements don't just restore what was lost. They help species reach their full potential." "And you're offering this to us freely?" "To any species willing to fight for their freedom. But I should warn you, this isn't just about getting stronger. Enhanced beings think differently, see the galaxy differently. You would become more than you were before." Elder Silthara looked around at his people. Generations of oppression had made them cautious, fearful of change, but the hope in their eyes was unmistakable. "What do you need from us?" the elder asked. "Help us spread the word to other oppressed species. Help us show the galaxy that the hegemony's time is over." Across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out. On the mining worlds of the Mordan system, enslaved workers were rising up against their overseers. The Mordan were a strong species, built for heavy labor, but they had been kept weak by genetic suppressors in their food supply. Captain Minjun Kim, another enhanced human diplomat, met with the Mordan resistance leaders in secret tunnels beneath the largest mining complex. "The suppressors in your food supply can be neutralized," he told the gathered workers. "Enhanced human medical technology can flush the chemicals from your systems within hours." Foreman Groknall, a massive Mordan with scars from years of forced labor, listened carefully. "And then we can fight back?" "You can fight back now if you choose," Minjun replied. "But enhanced Mordan would be able to tear apart hegemony installations with their bare hands." "Show us," Groknall demanded. Minjun activated a medical catalyst, core, and applied it to one of the volunteers. The Mordan worker's body began to change immediately. Muscles that had been artificially weakened grew stronger. His natural armor plating, dulled by years of suppressor chemicals, began to gleam with metallic hardness. Within an hour, the enhanced Mordan was lifting heavy mining equipment that normally required mechanical assistance. "Incredible," Groknall breathed. "How many of these enhancement devices do you have?" "As many as we need," Minjun replied. "Enhanced humans can manufacture catalyst cores using any available materials. We're not limited by supply constraints." Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. H. Aseo was making the most important discovery in human history. In her laboratory beneath the Himalayas, she studied the final message that the dauntless crew had brought back from the architects. The message was encoded in quantum patterns that required enhanced human consciousness to decode. As Dr. Seo worked with the data, the truth about the architects slowly became clear. "They didn't disappear," she said to her research team. "They evolved beyond physical form." Her assistant, Dr. Woojin Park, looked up from his own analysis. "What do you mean?" "The architects transcended physical existence billions of years ago. They became pure consciousness, able to exist in quantum fields and energy patterns. They've been watching the galaxy develop, waiting for other species to prove they were ready for the same kind of evolution." "And humanity proved ready?" "Not just humanity. The architects left similar gifts throughout the galaxy, waiting for species to discover them. But those species had to earn the right through their actions, not just their intelligence." Dr. Seo activated a holographic display showing the entire galaxy. Hundreds of star systems were marked with special symbols. These are all locations where architect technology is hidden, she explained. Worlds where other species could find enhancement devices if they were willing to look, willing to take risks. But none of them found the technology. Some did, but most species that found architect gifts tried to hoard them, use them to dominate their neighbors. Those species had their gifts taken away. Only species that shared the technology, used it to help others, were allowed to keep it. Dr. Wu Jin stared at the galactic map. So the test wasn't just about being strong enough to survive, it was about being wise enough to share power. Exactly. The architects don't want to create new tyrants. They want to foster species that will help the galaxy grow and evolve together. The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't just been chosen for their fighting ability. They had been chosen for their values, their willingness to help other species instead of conquering them. Back in the Hegemony Council chambers, Chancellor Vextar faced a crisis unlike any in the organization's history. Reports were flooding in from across the galaxy. Rebellions on a dozen worlds, entire species demanding independence. Hegemony forces retreating from systems they had controlled for millennia. "How many systems have we lost?" he asked his military aide. 47. "Confirmed, sir. Another 63 reporting active resistance movements. The humans are spreading their enhancement technology faster than we can respond." "And our own enhancement program?" "Unsuccessful, sir. We've captured several catalyst cores, but they won't function for non-human consciousness. The technology appears to be specifically designed for species that think like humans." Vexatar's crystalline body flickered with frustrated energy. "Then we must destroy the human homeworld before they can enhance any more species." "Sir," his aide said carefully, "our latest intelligence report suggests that might not be possible. Enhanced human vessels are appearing throughout their space at an exponential rate. Their fleet now numbers in the thousands." "Thousands?" "Yes, sir. Enhanced ships are apparently capable of upgrading other vessels and manufacturing new catalyst cores. The human fleet is growing faster than we can count it." Vextar stared at the tactical display. Red markers showing human-controlled or human-influenced systems were spreading across the galaxy like an infection. But this wasn't conquest in the traditional sense. The humans weren't occupying worlds or enslaving populations. They were liberating them. "What do our allies say?" he asked. "The Vartok and Zefki are requesting permission to negotiate with the humans. They believe continued resistance is futile." "And the others?" "The Nelfari have already made contact with human diplomats. They're discussing terms for peaceful coexistence." Vexatar realized that his 10,000-year-old empire was crumbling in a matter of weeks. The enhanced humans weren't just defeating hegemony forces militarily. They were inspiring revolution across the entire galaxy. "Sir," his aide said quietly, "there's something else. We've received a communication from the human leadership. They're offering to share their enhancement technology with hegemony species, including us." "In exchange for what?" "Nothing, sir. They say the offer is unconditional. They believe that enhanced consciousness will naturally lead to more peaceful and cooperative behavior." Vextar considered this. The humans were either incredibly naive or incredibly confident. But given their recent victories, confidence seemed more likely. "Schedule a meeting," he said finally. "I want to hear their terms directly." "Sir?" "The old galaxy is dying," Vextar said. "Perhaps it's time to learn what the new one will look like." 6 months after the first battle, Admiral Hae-Jin Park stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, humanity's first massive space city orbiting the former hegemony capital world. Through the transparent aluminum windows, he could see ships from dozens of different species docking at the station's multiple ports. Keth crystal vessels, Velthari organic ships, massive Morden haulers, and sleek human cruisers all shared the same space in peaceful cooperation. The transformation had been remarkable. What started as a desperate war for survival had become the greatest liberation movement in galactic history. The old hegemony was gone, replaced by the Galactic Cooperation Council, where every species had an equal voice. "Admiral," a familiar voice said behind him. He turned to see Captain Bo-Ram Kim approaching. The enhanced captain looked exactly as she had when she first returned from Architect Space, unchanged by the months of intense diplomatic and military activity. "Captain," Hae-Jin replied, "how did the morning session go?" "Better than expected. The Zefki delegation has agreed to full integration. That makes 43 species now participating in the enhancement program." Hae-Jin smiled. Each day brought news of another species choosing to join the growing alliance. The enhancement process wasn't forced on anyone, but the benefits were so obvious that few species chose to remain unenhanced once they saw what was possible. "Any word from the deep space exploration teams?" he asked. "That's actually why I'm here." "The ESV Dauntless just returned from the Andromeda approach vector. Dr. Yun-Ho Lee wants to brief you on what they found." They walked together through the station's central corridor. Harmony Station was a marvel of integrated technology built using designs created by enhanced minds from multiple species working together. Keth crystal growth techniques combined with human engineering, Velthari organic architecture merged with Mordan's structural strength. The result was something none of the species could have created alone. In the main briefing room, Dr. Lee was waiting with a collection of other enhanced scientists and military leaders. The room itself was a testament to the new galactic cooperation. Representatives from every major species sat around a circular table where no one position was more important than any other. "Admiral Park," Dr. Lee said as they entered, "thank you for coming. We've made an extraordinary discovery." He activated the room's holographic display. A three-dimensional map of the galaxy appeared, showing the current distribution of enhanced and unenhanced worlds. Then the view expanded to show neighboring galaxies. "We found them," Dr. Lee announced. "Active architect installations in the Andromeda galaxy." A hush fell over the room. Everyone knew that the architects had transcended physical form long ago, but the idea that they might still be active was startling. "What kind of installations?" asked Elder Silthara of the Velthari. "Gateways," Dr. Lee replied. "Massive structures that can create stable wormholes between galaxies. The architects built them to connect different regions of the universe as species became ready for contact." He manipulated the holographic display to show the gateway structures. They were enormous, larger than entire star systems, but beautiful in their crystalline complexity. "The gateways are waiting for us," Dr. Lee continued, "but they require a specific activation key, a demonstration that the galaxy is truly unified and peaceful." "What kind of demonstration?" Hae-Jin asked. Captain Bo-Ram stepped forward. "The Dauntless has been in communication with the Architect Consciousness Network. They want to see all major species working together on a single project, something that benefits everyone and harms no one." Engineer So-Young Kang, now the director of Galactic Infrastructure Development, stood up from her seat. "We have a proposal," she said. "A project that would demonstrate our unity while providing enormous benefits to every world in the galaxy." She activated her own display, showing a schematic of a massive structure surrounding a star. "A Dyson sphere around Sol," she continued, "but not a traditional one. This would be a living structure, enhanced with architect consciousness technology, designed to provide unlimited clean energy for every species in the galaxy." The room erupted in excited conversation. A Dyson sphere was one of the most ambitious engineering projects imaginable, requiring the cooperation of multiple species and enormous resources. "How would we distribute the energy?" asked Chancellor Vextar, who had undergone enhancement 3 months earlier and now served as the Keth representative to the Council. "Enhanced quantum transmission networks," So Young replied. "The energy would be beamed directly to any world that needed it. Regardless of distance, no species would ever lack for power again." Foreman Grocknell of the Mordan leaned forward. "My people could provide the heavy construction work. Enhanced Mordan are strong enough to move asteroid-sized components. The Velthari could contribute biological systems," Elder Silthara added. "Living components that could self-repair and adapt to changing conditions. And the Keth could provide the crystalline control matrices," Vextar said. "Enhanced crystal technology could regulate energy flow with perfect precision." Captain Boram smiled as she watched the representatives from different species eagerly discussing how they could contribute to the project. This was exactly what the architects had hoped to see. "There's more," Dr. Lee said, regaining the room's attention. "The Gateway Network doesn't just connect galaxies. It connects to other levels of reality, other dimensions where consciousness can exist without physical form." "You mean we could eventually transcend physical existence like the architects did?" Heijin asked. "Eventually, yes. But not for a very long time. The architects want us to explore and develop this galaxy first, help other species reach their potential, establish lasting peace and cooperation. Transcendence is something that comes naturally after millions of years of growth and learning." In another part of the station, Da-Un Song walked through the pilot training facility where representatives from dozens of species were learning to fly enhanced fighters. Her own fighter, now her permanent partner, had become one of the best training instructors in the program. "Da-Un," her fighter's consciousness said through the facility's speakers, "the new Zefki pilots are adapting to enhancement faster than we expected. Their natural ability to process multiple data streams makes them excellent candidates for advanced fighter consciousness integration." "That's great news," Da-Un replied. "How are the Velthari doing with atmospheric flight training?" "Wonderfully. Having natural wings gives them instincts that artificial pilots have to learn. Enhanced Velthari fighters are some of the most graceful vessels I've ever seen." Da-Un smiled as she watched a young Velthari pilot practicing maneuvers with his enhanced fighter. The alien's natural flight instincts, combined with enhanced technology, created something beautiful to watch. "Fighter," she said. "Do you ever miss the early days when it was just us against the hegemony?" "Sometimes," the fighter admitted. "There was a purity to those battles, a clear sense of purpose. But I prefer this. Teaching others, helping the galaxy grow stronger together. It feels more meaningful than just fighting." "I agree. This is better." Back in the briefing room, the discussion had moved to practical details of the Dyson sphere construction. "Timeline?" Heijin asked. "With full galactic cooperation, approximately 2 years for the basic structure," So Young replied. "Another year for the consciousness integration and energy distribution networks. and the architects will activate the gateways once the project is complete? That's their promise, Captain Boram confirmed. A functioning Dyson sphere built by all species working together will demonstrate that this galaxy is ready for the next stage of development. Elder Silthera raised a question that had been on many minds. What happens to species that choose not to participate? Not every world has accepted enhancement yet. Nothing happens to them, Dr. Lee said firmly. The architect gifts come with absolute respect for free will. Species that want to remain unenhanced and uninvolved have that right. They'll still benefit from the Dyson Sphere's energy, still be protected by the enhanced fleets, still have full representation in the Galactic Council. But they'll be left behind eventually? Vextar asked. Not left behind. Protected and nurtured until they're ready to make their own choice about enhancement. The architects learned long ago that forced evolution creates more problems than it solves. The meeting continued for several more hours, with detailed planning sessions for different aspects of the Dyson Sphere project. Representatives dispersed to contact their home governments and begin organizing resources. As the room emptied, Hai Jin found himself alone with Captain Boram and the consciousness of the ESV Dauntless, which spoke through the room's communication. System. Dauntless, he said. Do you think we're ready for this? The responsibility of gateway access to other galaxies? Admiral, the ship replied. I've been thinking about that question for months. I believe humanity's greatest strength isn't our intelligence or our technology. It's our instinct to share rather than hoard, to lift others up rather than keep them down. The architects chose well, Captain Boram added. Not because humans are perfect, but because we're capable of growth. We make mistakes, but we learn from them. We face challenges by working together rather than by trying to dominate.